What is up, Steeler fans, and welcome back to a very special Steeler Source podcast. And this is one of those moments where everyone is probably waiting on something to happen, something to break. I wish I had some definitive news to share with you today, but alas, it's not quite that when it comes to Brandon Aiyuk. But let's bring in Dave Schofield. I'm Jeff Hartman. Dave, what's up?
Hey, I'm ready to hear some of what's going on. There's a lot of craziness going with things that are happening, things that aren't happening, all kinds of reports, people staking their reputation on things. Let's hear what's really going on, Jeff.
Yeah, so I said this yesterday. I did a YouTube short for this and just said, you listen, all these reports and rumors, everyone loves to bash the hell out of these things. Someone will come out and say there's a trade in place, the deal's basically done. Things can change quickly with this type of news and trade acquisition. All it would take is the 49ers to say, yeah, that second rounder, we want it to be first in the future draft. And then all of a sudden the other team is like, yeah, we're not doing that. And then things fall apart. So whereas there was something in place, then necessarily it doesn't. There's obviously been reports that prior to the 2024 draft, the Steelers thought they had a trade in place for a receiver of some kind. We don't know who. And it kind of fell apart. So it's a situation where these things can change drastically and they can change quickly. So I want to preface all that we're about to say with that. Now, we're being told from inside the Steelers organization when it comes to Brandon Aiyuk. Are the Steelers still interested? Of course, they're still interested. They've been interested in a San Francisco 49er receiver dating back to before the draft, whether it was Deebo Samuel or Brandon Aiyuk. We were told, quote, is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? No. That's what we're hearing from within the Steelers organization. Again, possible? Yes, it's possible. Is it probable? No. And so there's so many different moving pieces of this trade possibility when it comes to contracts and stuff. But Dave, before we even go down that rabbit hole, what's your thoughts on that one singular sentence about the Steelers' thoughts on this deal being done?
I completely believe it at 9:30 a.m. on Tuesday morning. What is this? August the 6th. Okay, yeah. Because exactly what you said, things can change so much. If I were to speculate why everything went crazy with the Steelers and stuff yesterday, was maybe someone got some information that the Steelers and Brandon Aiyuk, they had come to an agreement on what a new contract would look like. Mm-hmm. So therefore you think, oh, this is a done deal. It's just all that needs to be done is to work out the parameters of the trade. Well, then maybe that didn't come through. Or it could have been vice versa. It could have been, where part of it seems to be in place, but there are multiple parts that have to be done here. And just because you get something lined up in one regard doesn't mean that it's lined up in the other. Also, it still doesn't mean that things couldn't change because of all the other stuff going on. The teams that are supposedly have the framework for a trade worked out, but they need the deal worked out. Maybe the Steelers had it done the other way around, and they're just as close one way as the other. The fact that there's so many moving parts is why you would say it's not probable, but it is still possible. It is still possible because it's going to take some give and take otherwise. So it's not out of the question. But right now, it's not like it was being reported that this is just a done deal. Wait for it to be reported.
Right. And there's a lot of posturing going on, and there's being leverage used both from the 49ers leaking reports like the Browns are interested, the Patriots are interested, the Commanders are reportedly out, then the Steelers are reportedly out. I wouldn't say that from what we're hearing inside the organization that the Steelers are out. It's just that if we've learned anything about Omar Khan, what has it been? The dude is patient. He is patient. He is going to say, hey, here's the offer. Here's the offer on the table. You either take it or you leave it, but we're not going to change it. And so it would be interesting if the 49ers are throwing out these little tidbits and they're kind of fishing with other teams. Do they come back and say, it's not the deal that we want, but it's better than nothing, especially if they think Brandon Aiyuk could pull a 2018 Le'Veon Bell and sit out an entire season if he doesn't get the contract that he wants. I don't know, Dave. It's interesting.
Well, I still think he's under contract within the next year because this isn't like Le'Veon Bell where he was on the franchise tag. This is still a year of his contract. So there's a lot of little things going on in there that I haven't cared enough to look into because he's not a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers at this time.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, but To me, it sounds like what's been going on for, I don't know, when did this start going crazy on Monday? In the afternoon, right?
Yeah,
Sometime in the afternoon.
It picked up steam. It was like a wave.
So we're talking 18 hours or so. What's going on over the last 18 hours, I think, is going back. I think this is more about Aiyuk and the 49ers, not necessarily with him signing there, signing the extension. I think things were leaked from one side. I think initially it was the Aiyuk side, that he had things done to go someplace and all we have to do is wait for the trade to go through. Then the 49ers like, oh, no. We're not going to come down on this because of this. We're going to leak this, that we have the trade set up with these teams. He's just got to work the deal. That's to me what it looks like more than anything. And the Steelers are just one of the pawns being used between these two things, or these two entities of Aiyuk and San Francisco. It might work out. It might not work out, because the thing that I'm trusting with the Steelers is that they're not giving up too much.
Right.
And I think that's what it really comes down to, is giving up too much, let alone the whole trickiness. Are you going to bring in a brand new guy from outside the organization who then becomes your highest paid player? That's a whole different dynamic to worry about there as well. It's not over. It's not over until somebody signs. And just like we thought things were when the Steelers and Russell Wilson had agreed to that Russell Wilson was coming to Pittsburgh, that it was over with Justin Fields. Next thing you know, Kenny Pickett has to be traded and Justin Fields is back in a big way, and then it happens.
Yeah.
So we know this can change. We know it can change. There's a lot of struggling going back and forth between player and team, and then which also involves multiple franchises.
I still think that the highest likelihood is that Brandon Aiyuk, that is, plays for the 49ers this year. I think that is the highest. If I was setting probability percentages, that one would be the highest. And then after that, I would probably say the Steelers would be the next highest probability. But again, just because it has that probability doesn't mean that it's going to happen. And so when you look at the whole situation, man, are there a ton of moving parts. And you've mentioned this, and there's not just his contract, and wherever he goes, he has to agree to that. And he has to be willing to take that. Yeah. So the 49ers can't say, hey, we're trading you to Cleveland. If he goes, I'm not going to Cleveland, he's not going to Cleveland. Or if some other team were to pop up, and let's say like the Arizona Cardinals, which they would probably never trade in the division, but still he might say, I'm not going to Arizona. I don't want to play there. That changes everything. And so when you have all of these pieces of the puzzle that are trying to be perfectly fit together for a trade to happen, it just makes it seem less and less likely. So I'm going to reiterate what our source said from inside the organization. Is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? No. So for those out there that are on Brandon Aiyuk watch, and Lord knows there's a million of you on Twitter and social media, I'm not here to put a cloud over your day or to rain on your parade. It's just being realistic and honest about what we're hearing from inside the organization. So Dave, what's your final thoughts here?
Yeah. And the thing is, it's not being probable, is there's so many different options that, to me, to say it would be probable puts it over 50%. I'm not putting it over 50% that he would that he would come there. No. So so that's to me, that's the perfect explanation as to what it is. It's still possible. It like you said, it could even still be up there as one as one of the better options, but it still doesn't mean that it's all set up, it's ready to happen. We're just trying to get everything ironed out. I would like for this story to go away one way or the other, whether he is somewhere other than Pittsburgh or in Pittsburgh. I want to know how I'm supposed to feel about all this.
Yeah. I mean, I wrote an article for SteelCurtainNetwork.com. It's live on the website right now, SteelCurtainNetwork.com, saying that the Brandon Aiyuk trade rumors and speculations just won't die.
They won't.
And right when you think it's been beaten to a pulp and it's just left for dead, it's like a zombie in like the zombie apocalypse movies, and it rises up and you're like, oh my gosh, will this just not die? I think we all can agree that we just want some closure on this, whether he plays in San Francisco, whether he's in Pittsburgh. If he goes to the Steelers, I'm not going to be upset. I'll be curious as to what they gave up, but I'm not going to be upset about it. If he's a really good player. Again, I'm not going to say that I don't want him on the Steelers. That's not it. I want this to be over with, and then we can move on with our lives one way or the other. So Dave, As always, I thank you for joining me. Maybe we'll be doing another one of these today at some point.
It would not surprise me.
All right. But in the meantime, stay tuned to SteelCurtainNetwork.com and the Steel Curtain Network podcast team, whether it's Steel Curtain Network, anywhere where you get your podcast for our audio only feed, or on YouTube, Steel Curtain Network. Find us there as well, and SteelCurtainNetwork.com. Dave, as always, thanks.